What's going on? My name is Matt. Welcome to the Boys Crypto Show, and boom, baby, boom. What a day for crypto. It's been a while, hasn't it, since we've seen some bubbles this big on the daily for crypto, for the altcoins, BTC, all the major top 10 cryptocurrencies booming to the upside. We do have some losers. We'll talk about those, the week, the month, and the year on the bubbles turning green after what seems like a sea of red forever, right? And a lot of these are still in the red. A lot of the red still in play here on the year. Render down 52%. A lot of the hot projects are down, but we have to take it where we can get it, everybody. We have to acknowledge that this week has been a massive rebound week for some of the hottest projects in the game. We're going to dive on into this. What's the reason for this bounce? The market seemed to get a little bit of warm and fuzzies right now, despite still looming trade wars overhead. The bond market going absolutely crazy. We're going to take a peek at gold, silver, the stocks. We're going to look at Bitcoin. We're going to look at every asset under the sun today on this Saturday episode, baby. On this Saturday episode, what you guys want to go over, drop it on in the chat. Drop your altcoins, drop your questions, and we're going to get right on into the nitty gritty of it all, baby, where we do every single day. Hey, shout out to each and every single one of you that are here with us at our new time, 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, baby. I'm on this schedule because my lady got a new position and she is on days now instead of nights. So we are, because of her, trading the New York stock session. I'm super excited to be doing that and bringing this to you here in the late evening, the early evening, much earlier in the evening than we were before. So that's what we're doing, baby. That's what we're doing. Shout out to everybody here. What's going on? JJ, Roward, April, what's going on? Thank you for being here. All right, Bitcoin. We're going to start here like we do every single day. Bitcoin, baby. Boom on the daily. We got a massive rally over the past 2 days for crypto and for a lot of the risk on assets as the trade war tensions seem to be easing a little bit. We are getting that rally in the crypto markets and in the traditional stocks, S&P, gold, and everything under the sun rallying as China seems to be letting off the gas a little bit. Trump saying that he wants to, make an agreement with China. The market's preliminary pricing in a deal between the U.S. and China. It does apparently seem so right now, and rate cuts seem to be on the horizon here, as hinted by the Fed at their minutes meeting this past Wednesday. So we'll be looking at what's going on in this upcoming week. We're going to prepare for the week ahead so that we have the best edge in the market going on. We have the best edge in the market going into this upcoming week. So we're going to start here today with Bitcoin, baby. Bitcoin on the daily. We have to acknowledge, yes, we had a great rally to the upside, but Bitcoin is still trading beneath what? That daily 200 SMA. When you're below this red line, this is a do not pass go line. You need to be above this red line in order to maintain your bullish thesis. Above the red line, we dipped below, came back to a key Fibonacci, which is what saved us. We kicked back above that red line, went on another rally, and now we're doing the same exact thing based off of this Fibonacci here, from this reaction down here to the highs. We came down into the golden pocket, and we got that reversal to the upside. Is there room to go further down? The answer is yes. Yes, that daily 200 SMA is going to serve as resistance until proven otherwise. We fell beneath, resistance. We had a difficult time, tried to get back above, fell below, got retested, and we went to the depths with crypto, baby, to the depths. And this is despite any kind of news. This red line, that 200 MA, is your line in the sand. Very important that we get back over that macro indicator, that 200 SMA on the daily. It is the main reason that I could say I'm bullish or bearish on any asset without even knowing the name of the asset. Whenever I'm pulling up a chart, are we above the daily 200 MA? It's a good sign. Are we below the daily 200 MA? That's a bad sign, and I had to say that still. Even though we had this massive rally, we fell below this daily 200 MA, and we have not broken back above it. We fell beneath it, resistance, struggled above it, fell beneath. retested it as resistance and fell to the depths, and so far we have not been able to reclaim that red line. What I am liking here for BTC, baby, for BTC, is that we're starting to form a nice high volume node cluster in this range, sitting at about $83,000. A nice area of support seems to be forming here for BTC, baby, for BTC. We are getting above the 21 on the daily. It does look okay, and you know what? I was looking at this as well. We do have this bullish divergence, and bullish divergence on the daily doesn't always have to play out. It's a very, very strong indicator hinting at increased probability to the upside on the reversal. And looky here, we did have this swing down in price action. This is the last bullish divergence that we had. We had a swing down in price action while we had to swing up on the RSI indicator, and that's bullish divergence right there. The probabilities of us cracking 95,000 before we cracked 77,700 or 77,000 were relatively high. And now we're forming that same kind of bullish divergence. It's just a little more extrapolated. Looky here. We have this swing up on the RSI indicator, or swing across on the RSI indicator here. This is Class B bullish divergence, baby. Class B bullish divergence. And you have a swing down on price action. That looks really, really good for the probability sake of us cracking that $89,000 level before we crack this $74,300 level. I'm liking what I'm seeing with that bullish divergence for BTC. However, we did violate that before. We violate bullish divergence. That is a massive bearish sign. We violate bearish divergence as XRP did on its monumental run up to the upside, and that is an incredibly bullish sign. So far we have violated this this bullish divergence, and we have not fulfilled this bullish divergence here, this new set of bullish divergence that has formed over the past 3 weeks or so. So that's what we're looking at here for BTC. Is this going to play out? The bullish divergence does suggest that we're going to get at least another attempt at a test of that 200 MA sitting at about $87,000. Can happen over the course of the night. We're at low volatility time period, baby. A low volatility time period where there is a lack of trading volume. So everyday people like you, me, and any of the whales that individually hold Bitcoin out there, not like companies like Michael Saylor or Microsoft or Google or any of those companies, they can't trade their assets right now. But what they can do is watch price action, and when Monday comes, they can bring price as they normally do back to where it began, down here to about 83,000. There's going to be a CME gap here that is open right now at about $83,200. That is likely to get filled. Most of the CME gaps have been filled in Bitcoin's history. Only about 3 have not. So that is something that we want to keep our eyes on going into this upcoming week. Shout out to each and every single one of you guys in the chat. Thank you, April, JJ, Wanda, for hopping on in here. Roward, what's going on, man? I appreciate you being here. Thank you. JJ asks, any hope on Ethereum, baby? Any hope on Ethereum? I'd love to go into it, man. Let's dive on in. We'll pull up Bitcoin dominance a little later. BTC, baby. That's what I'm seeing for BTC. We do have that bullish divergence on the daily, suggesting that we get at least another crack at this 200 MA. We cannot chase green candles on the weekend, everybody. We cannot chase green candles. Very important. I have a perfect example of that. XCN, baby. Anybody see the XCN rally that happened this week? Wow, what a monumental move for XCN, running from 7 cents or from 7/10 of a cent all the way up. It had about a 4x in about a week or in just a couple of days. An insane run for XCN. And Fartcoin doing the same exact thing. A monumental move for Fartcoin, about 400% in the span of the last 7 days. That is absolutely crazy for this asset. In the last month, about 400%, about another 100% on the last 7 days. That is crazy for this asset. We'll pull up those and we'll take a peek. Jasmine getting a little bit of a run. The Japanese BTC, baby. That's what Jasmine runs under. Hyperliquid getting that 50% move to the upside, rebounding off of that $10 region. A lot of cool big moves coming here in the market from some of the projects that I'm at least glad to see. Hyperliquid, man, for sure, getting that bounce to the upside. Render up 25%. We've had Render on our radar, averaging in at that $3 region, about $4 now for render. Looking good, looking good. So let's dive on into Ethereum, baby. Ethereum for JJ. Let's dive on in, man. We'll pull it up on the perpetuals on Binance. I will say this. There's a lot of hate on Ethereum right now, and a lot of people that are worried about their project, and understandably so. If you're in Ethereum right now, you have a decision to make. You have a decision to make. You really do. Is Vitalik Buterin really going to step up and make this project something that's going to be able to compete with some of the layer ones like Sui and Solana? Can Ethereum reclaim that top spot in crypto sentiment? Because right now it's at the bottom of the barrel, baby. And you could argue, oh, that's some of the best prices that you could get. But man, this is looking like one of the weaker coins in the game. Ethereum hasn't had the pumps like it has before. There's lack of upgrades right now. And you know, I really don't hear the team saying a lot. There's just a lot of Vitalik Buterin being frustrated over the broader crypto economy. But there really isn't a lot to go on that's giving me hope that Ethereum can bounce from here. I mean, it's really cool. Ethereum's so cool. It's the internet that isn't censored. You could build on it. You could build layer 2s out of it. You can make awesome projects on Ethereum. But this thing is down from December. You know, you're down massively, about 60%. The number one altcoin, the number 2 crypto in existence, struggling, and XRP, Solana, a lot of the hotter chains gaining ground on this asset and stealing market share. You got a decision to make if you're in Ethereum. Either you're in it to win it, baby. You're holding it, and you're saying, hey, we could come back to the highs. And Ethereum's gonna outshine some of these other projects, but I'm just not seeing that. I'm not seeing that on their X. I'm not seeing it on their Twitter. I'm not seeing anything that's really giving this project an edge in this ever evolving cryptocurrency economy. And honestly, we looked at this the other day. We looked at the snapshot from back here in 2017. We looked at this the other day. Woo! What are we doing? Yeah, we'll look at this. We looked at this the other day, ladies and gentlemen. Take a look at the top 10. There's only 5. There's only 4. There's only 4. There's only 4 cryptos in the top 10 from 2017 that are still in the top 10. This list changes just because Ethereum is the number 1 altcoin, and Ethereum has led all altcoin rallies in the past. Does not mean that it has to lead the altcoin rally this time around. It's wild, and this is crazy. Like, you don't see 7-day percentages like this in the top 10 anymore. Cardano up 363% in 7 days back in 2017. Wow, what a time to be in crypto right here. Tron up 691%. Look at these gains on the weekly. Isn't that crazy to see? What a crazy market this is. What a crazy market this is. Ethereum has the number 2 spot as the number 2 cryptocurrency. Does it have to hold that spot? No. And, you know, honestly, whenever you're looking at any asset in comparison to the entire crypto market, you can look at this, ETH.D, Ethereum dominance, and you can look at ETH.D. Whoop. This will show you how much dominance Ethereum has in the market. This is nothing to do with price. This is, hey, this is how much money's in the cryptocurrency space, and this is how much Ethereum controls. Ethereum currently controlling 7.44%. Ethereum has lost about 2/3 of its market share in the past 3 months. Less than, or no. Oh, this is on the weekly, and then this is on the weekly. Believe this on the daily. Where's the highs in December? Highs in December, baby. See, even in December, even though we're at the highs in December, Ethereum continues to plummet on this chart. And you're begging, you're praying for a double bottom right here. Or you could go on price discovery to the downside, which is horrible from a market share perspective, baby, from a market share perspective. So that's what we're looking at here for Ethereum. You're living on a prayer right now, and I don't mean to say that as a joke. I'm being serious. As a market share, you touch this support once, twice. This is the 3rd time you're coming down to this support. If this support line breaks, you're looking at all-time lows for Ethereum market share. I'm not saying that it's going to 0. I'm not saying anything like that. Ethereum will not go to 0. Unlikely. I do not believe that will happen. However, we have to acknowledge that we are sitting at weakness levels that we have not seen since December of 2019 for Ethereum. If you're going to get a bounce, it's going to come now. If you don't get this bounce now and you start cracking these lows, we have to question if Ethereum is going to maintain the market dominance as the altcoin leader, and is there going to be another one that takes its place? It's entirely possible and happens every year in crypto, where a new project comes up and starts stealing the glory from these other layer ones, and Ethereum looks like it has its head on the chopping block right now, I have to be honest. But back over to the chart, let's see if we can see anything on the daily to get any, and the reason I'm saying this is because even though we're getting pumps in the altcoin market right now and we're seeing some massive gains here, you can type in Ethereum on the day. It's probably lackluster compared to 5.2%, but you see a lot of double-digit gainers here, and a lot of things are up about 10%. I really just think there's better places to hold your money than Ethereum right now. My opinion, not financial advice, but I really am having a tough time standing behind the Ethereum blockchain with lack of announcements, lack of upgrades, and the gas fees are entirely too high. That's why Sui was created. Faster, cheaper, more efficient than Ethereum. Has a fixed supply. Ethereum has an infinite supply. You can look over here on CoinMarketCap. Like, there's a lot of things that I see just giving Ethereum massive weakness. Infinity here for the maximum supply on Ethereum. There will always be more Ethereum. Yeah, and we'll have to see how this develops, but I don't know if Ethereum could hold on to this number 2 spot much longer. XRP continually getting closer and closer to this market cap of Ethereum, under $200 billion. Isn't that crazy to see? So we'll have to see. We'll have to see if Ethereum can maintain that share in the market, baby. That's what I'm looking at. For Hopium on Ethereum, JJ, let's see here, man. You're not showing any bullish divergence on the weekly. You got it here on the daily, which is nice. But it's, to me, you have this massive bullish divergence here on the daily, and that looks okay. That looks pretty good to me. Or this is on the 4-hour. Where's the daily? You don't have it on the daily, but you got it on the 4-hour. And that's what kicked you on out of here, man. You had this swing down on price action, making that lower low while you're making this higher low here on the RSI indicator. Coming out of that oversold region, you can see how deep red that is. That is massive bullish divergence coming out of oversold conditions, suggesting that you're going to crack this high here. This high here. Whoop. This high at that wick before you crack this low, and that did happen right here upon that with that green candle right there on the 4-hour. And now you're looking at testing this prior high. So now Ethereum is attempting a market structure shift on the lower time frames on the 4-hour, right? So you have lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and this on the smaller time frames, on the 4-hour time frame, and not necessarily small, the medium term time frame, you are making your first higher high, and now you made a higher low. So the market structure has changed here. You can say, hey, we made a higher high and a higher low. Now we're likely to come up and make another higher high. Where is that going to come in? Well, you know, there's a couple areas of confluence that you're likely going to get a reaction. You're likely going to get a reaction off this 618 here when you come up into this zone, and that is confluent with this high volume node cluster over here, sitting at about $1,800. We're gapping up as we speak now in this gap, through this gap in the VRVP up to this support zone. That would be the 4-hour 200 SMA. But man, Ethereum, like I have to say, Bitcoin's above its 4-hour 200 SMA. It just is not showing the same strength as the rest of the coins in the market right now, in my opinion. So yeah, that 618786 bearish retracement of the Fibonacci, I think that would be a likely area where you're going to get at least a little bit of resistance. But with that being said, that would be your next higher high. Where would that higher low come in? You would pull your Fibonacci here, pull your Fibonacci from your swing low to your new swing high, wherever that may be, and this would be your next golden long opportunity down here at the 786, confluent with this high volume node sitting at about 1567. It looks really, really good here for Ethereum on the smaller time frame. frames, but I think that there's better places to put your money right now, risk to reward wise. Ethereum is not going to 10x this cycle, in my opinion. I think there's a lot of coins out there that have a massive potential, 10, 20x potential, that are in the top 100. I don't think you're going to get a 100x out of anything in the top 100, but I do think that 10, 20x is definitely on the table, and I can't say with certainty Ethereum's got a lot of roadblocks to get up to that area. You'd have to have a $16,000 Ethereum, and you haven't even, you're over 50% of the way. You're gonna need a massive, over 100%. You're gonna need a massive 144% pump for Ethereum just to get back to where we were in December, back to the highs. Hey everybody, what's going on? Shout out to you guys jumping on in the chat. Lily, Michaela, what's going on? Welcome, glad you could join us here today. Yeah, so JJ, that's what I'm seeing on Ethereum right here. You're living kind of on a prayer right now. You lose this support level right here, and this is the weekend, man. It's important to understand that we're still in the weekend, and anything could happen. News-driven events, something, anything could happen. But this CME gap is likely to get filled on Ethereum. The CME gap sitting down here at about 1560. That's $100 below where Ethereum is currently sitting. It would be very abnormal to see that CME gap go unfilled. Just something to keep in mind going on into this week ahead. So even that reaction off a market open coming down to fill those CME gaps and then moving to the upside, maybe a potential long opportunity. So what are we going to be looking at this week, baby? This week, going on into the week, let's look at the U.S. economic calendar and see what juicy stuff we got coming in the world of economics, baby. Coming on into the week of April 14th. April 14th. Shout out to you, April. Birthday on April 14th. Birthday girl, what's going on? She gonna be going out to the club and whatnot. I know her. I don't know if her mom watches. She's gonna be going out to the club. It's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a good time. She said we're gonna be getting some what did she call them? The tequila sunrises will be good. She said 6, 7, 8 of them. It's gonna be great in the first 2 hours. It's gonna be an awesome time. Look forward to doing that with April. Oh yeah. So here we are, baby. The U.S. economic calendar. Diving on in. At first glance, we don't really have anything on Monday. Low liquidity as well. Monday going on into the week, and then going on into your Tuesday. Nothing. Wednesday. This is something that's going to be big. The retail sales. That is going to take into account some of these tariffs that have been hitting the United States and countries all around the world. We're going to see how that is impacting the retail sales around the United States. That's going to be really cool to see, and that is likely going to be the main market driver here on Wednesday. Thursday, as always, we had the initial jobless claims, building permits, not much, so we don't have a lot this week. The biggest thing on my radar is going to be this U.S. retail sales, baby, coming on in for March. That's going to be on Wednesday, April 16th, and that really does give us, it's going to give us a glimpse of how bad is this. It's going to give us a glimpse of how bad is this. How much are people holding on to their money, or are people willing to go out and spend a little extra right now, anticipating more harm in the future? How are people getting ready for a potential tariff war? Like, a lot of uncertainty still in the market. I get we're having a bounce here on this great Saturday, but man, this is a trivial time. It's tough. It's a tough environment. It is a tough environment to trade right now. And U.S. retail, you guys know me, I haven't been in leverage trades for the past, I think it's been about 9 days since I made a leverage trade. I'm just sitting in the spot right now, and I'm just observing the market, and I'm waiting for this stuff. I'm waiting for this trade stuff to come to at least a little bit of a stable period where I'm not going to get massive news drivers every day that's wicking the market around, taking out everybody on any leverage above 10, 20x. It's been absolutely insane. So that's what I'm looking at here going on into the week. U.S. retail sales and the initial jobless claims, the big market movers going on into this upcoming week of April 14th, baby. That's what I'm looking at. Do your taxes. If you haven't done your taxes, baby, do your taxes. April 15th, that deadline, if I remember correctly. All right, so diving on into the chat, Wanda wants to look at H-bar. Yeah, absolutely, Wanda. Let's dive on into it. JJ, no problem, man. I'm glad to be here for you. Thank you for joining on into the chat, man. Thank you. All right. H-bar is one of the competitors. Well, I don't want to say competitors. That's not true. H-bar went on a monumental run. Let this be a testament to everybody of how volatile this market can be. This is the daily chart, and H-bar over the past week has went on a monumental 38% move. You rarely see that in stock markets, and you know, these are the kind of moves you can get in crypto. Really, really cool to see. So H-bar definitely playing 200 MA dominoes on the smaller time frames, baby. You got above the 5, you get above the 5, you get to the 7. You go to the 7, you go to the 15, you go to the 15, you go to the hour, you get above the hour, you're going to go to the 2 hour. We got above the 2 hour, you flagged out, looking to pump to the upside. Now you're coming to the 3 hour. You're just getting above that 3 hour 200 SMA. This candle does not close for another 2 hours and 34 minutes, Wanda. We have to keep in mind we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 green candles in a row for H-bar on the 3 hour. That's kind of crazy. You are gapping up here in the VRVP, likely to come up here to this 18.5 level, looking okay. The 4 hour 200 MA is sitting at about 17.8. H-bar is looking pretty good here, looking pretty good off the bounce from down here at 10 cents. I'll be honest, I never thought that I'd see H-bar at these prices again. I didn't think we'd see it. I didn't, you know. You had some massive adoption, but you know, this just goes to show that everything does follow Bitcoin. And H-bar, even though it's a new project, founded here in the great state of Texas, everybody. In the great state of Texas. That's where I'm at. Around Dallas, baby. But yeah, founded by veterans here in Texas, aiming to take on the real-world asset tokenization space. Getting a lot of contracts over in the Middle East. Super cool. Also working with central banks in Australia. This project it could potentially be a sleeping giant. I did do a video on H-bar. Take a peek and you can see where I think that this project can potentially go on an altcoin bull run, baby, on an altcoin bull run. But that's what I'm looking at, Wanda. H-bar getting a nice little bounce here. You're playing 200 MA dominoes to the upside. You get above that 4 hour 200 SMA, and you can go on a little bit of ride. You get above here, went on a ride. You get above here, a little bit of a pump. You fell below the 4 hour 200 SMA, started closing candles, and that's what led to that catastrophic dump from 31 cents down to 18. So this red line, this is your line in the sand. As it is with every asset when you start playing 200 MA dominoes, you are currently pinned in between the 3 and the 4 hour 200 SMA. The 3 and the 4 hour 200 SMA. You start closing candles above or below one, you could get a general bias of where the price is likely to go in the future. And you know what's cool? When you start getting above the 4 hour 200 SMA, you close a candle and you open up a long, you could put some severe layers underneath you for protection. So say you get above here. Say you get above here on H-bar. This should just be an idea, right? Let's look at these. We'll turn these red. We'll turn these yellow here. We'll turn these yellow. Give me a yellow line. Give me a yellow line here. Okay, it's not going to do it. I'm just going to mark out where the 200 MAs are. So to the downside for H-bar, right? To the downside for H-bar, for shielding for your trade, if you were to get into a long on H-bar, this is just it's not financial advice, but this is what I would be doing if I would be looking along H-bar. So you're currently above the 3 hour 200 SMA. If you're going to fall, where are your areas of support? It's going to be your 2, your 3, it's going to be your 3 hour, 2 hour, 1 hour 200 SMAs. Your stop loss should be down here underneath that 1 hour 200 SMA. That way you have these little 200 MA soldiers here to protect you in the event that the price did go in the wrong direction, the way that you did not expect price to go. So you have these 200 MAs to catch you and to reverse price to the upside, because those will be supports. Since you've broken them as resistances, you got above, you held above. This is going to be a key line of support, and I love how it's curving to the upside. It looks good for H-bar here, playing 200 MA dominoes to the upside, Wanda. With that being said, I have to zoom on out here. I have to zoom on out on H-bar. This isn't what the chart that I want to look at. This is what I want to look at for H-bar right here. Where do we come down to for H-bar? This is something that we go over day in and day out on this channel. From swing low to swing high, you came back and you almost hit that 786. The 786 got front ran right here. Is there room to go to the downside? Absolutely, but we have to speculate that the 618, 786 bullish retracement is a likely area where you're at least going to get a reaction, and we've gotten it. We've got a reaction here from the. I'm not saying that we're going to reverse to the moon and we're going to new highs, but this is an area where you can expect bounces. If you start opening up shorts into a 618, 786 bullish retracement on the macro, it is a risky game. It is a very risky game. Let's look at the coin that everyone's talking about on Twitter right now. It's back, baby. XCN making moves over the past. Look at that. XCN going on a tear to the upside after carnage for the last 2 months, finally getting 3 days of just beyond monumental pumpage, up 158% in the last couple of days, 3 days for XCN. So where did this come down here? Let's pull our Fibonacci and let's take a little peek-a-rooney at where this came to here on the charts. You came down to the 886. I will say that with altcoins, you can get a retracement to the 886, and the 200 MA held as your support very beautifully there. You did not close the candle below the daily 200 SMA. XCN getting that reversal to the upside. I'll be honest, I did not think that XCN would be rallying like this. I didn't think Fartcoin was going to be rallying like this either, but Bitcoin got the bounce, and the market is saying, hey, these are the stronger coins in the game right now, and they have a lot of hype behind them, and Twitter was absolutely blowing up about this coin today to the upside. XCN. With that being said, for all of those for you guys that are foaming at the mouth out there, because I know you're out there. I used to be one of those people. I used to be the people that would chase this green cap. Oh, we're going to $10,000 a coin. I used to be that guy. I know. Looking at this candle right here, let's look at the prior day's candle. If you got caught at the highs, we have to acknowledge that this was still a 25% down draw for XCN from the high here. It happens. But this is why, if you have a notebook with you, write this down. We do not chase green candles. We do not chase red candles. We wait for consolidation and high probability plays, to whether that be to the upside or the downside. But you see 3 big candles in a row here, and you get 145, 100. It was 233% in the course of 3 days. What are the odds that the charts are just going to go like this? And I know it's crazy looking at XCN, because look at this. But what are the odds that the odds of this happening? Very low. Very low. So the odds of XCN just continuing to the upside like this, very low. Almost unheard of. This was a crazy move for XCN. So, I do want to put my fib here from the swing high to where we did bounce and see where a likely area of resistance is going to be here for XCN. Yeah, you came up to that 0.5, not an area I'm really interested in, not an area that I use in my trading strategy, but up here to the 618, 786 area, even if you did get a pump-a-rooney up in the air, this would be a likely area of a reaction to the downside. But you know what that would set up? That would set up a likely beautiful cup and handle scenario here for XCN for further continuation to the upside. I would be keeping that on your radar. XCN looking pretty good today, getting the pump. If you're holding on spot, you're really happy, that's for sure. But this isn't something that I'd be touching with leverage right now. I will not chase candles that big. Look at this. In 3 days, you took back the losses of over almost 2 months of price action in 3 days. That is almost unheard of. That is crazy. And XCN defying all odds right now in the charts. Let's dive on over in the bubbles. You have a ton of winners on the day. Too many to go over. That is for sure. On the week, XCN, Fartcoin, some of the hottest assets in the game right now. I can't believe I'm saying it for Fartcoin. You guys know how it is when I'm diving on over these memes, baby. Fartcoin to the upside. We were speculating on this drawn just the other day, that inverted shoulder, head, right shoulder on our last stream, speculating on a move to the upside. We got that break through the neckline to the upside for Fartcoin through this neckline up about 62%. Looks very, very good for Fartcoin here. Do I think there's going to be continuation? That is the question, is it not? That is the question. So, this would be your previous reaction right here from this swing high to, we came up to the 706. Okay. That's looking okay. For Fartcoin, I would definitely leave this alone. I don't like, you guys know how I feel about meme coins. But I have to acknowledge that we are getting above a key area that started to support, fell underneath resistance. We struggled here a little bit for a little bit of a little over a day, resistance, and we got back above. If this area is to be confirmed as support at about 77 cents, that shows massive strength for Fartcoin, an asset that has shown in the past that it can move, and it can move mountains. It can move mountains very, very quickly. 50% gains for Fartcoin in 7 days here back in January. It can move like that. It can move like that again. And you know what's kind of crazy about Fartcoin? I don't think Fartcoin's not super. Yeah, this coin came out not too long ago, back in October. And you know, this is still relatively new when it comes to price action here. You came down a little bit of a double bottom Rooney right here, double bottom, that rounding, it looks good. And I don't have to know the name of this asset to know that this is looking really good here on the smaller time frames. I have to be honest for Fartcoin, and it is a meme coin. We have to acknowledge that it's a meme coin. I'm pretty sure that there's one person that owns a lot of it. Where is it? Coin market cap, baby. This will tell us. This will tell us the sauce. This will tell us the sauce, as they say. Fartcoin, baby, number 69. Of course it is. Fartcoin, baby. Fartcoin. Max supply, 1 billion Fartcoins, circulating supply. Most of it's already out, fully diluted. This is on Solana. Let me take this here. Anti-rug, baby. The hottest agent in the game. I just want to see what the safety score is, and I want to see who owns the most amount of Fartcoin here, if it is held by a singular address. And you know, that's surprising. It's not. What a safe score on AI for Fartcoin. Looks pretty good. Minting lock, no red flags detected. That shows true strength. It really does. And look at these percentages here. You have the top 10 people owning about 10%, but the most of it is owned by the general public, about 86.73%. That's interesting for Fartcoin. Very, very interesting. I didn't realize that you know, I just assumed, like, based off of being a meme coin, that somebody owned a large percentage of it. I was wrong there. And Fartcoin looking really, really good here on top 10 holders. No red flags by the AI agent. I have not come across a coin on this anti-rug that has not given me at least a red flag of some sort, like some kind of confusion when it comes to minting or anything like that. Fartcoin looking good, baby. A 95% safety score. That looks awesome. Trump coin has like 50. That's all I'm saying. 50%. That's really weird. But yeah. Hey, AI agent, the AI anti-rug, which is really cool. It does this on all assets on Solana. You can paste the address in here and see how safe it is. If the AI agent thinks that there's something wrong with it, it's going to put it right here, and it's going to say what it likes and what it doesn't like about the project. And it often could say, it could save you. It could save you. I do see this here. I will have to look into this. Yeah, I'm gonna do a little bit of a deep dive on this. This is a little weird. Creator has suspicious history. I'm gonna dive into that. But yeah, Fartcoin, baby, looking good on the charts. I will have to be honest. I do have to be honest. I don't need to know the name of the asset to know that this asset is looking hot here in the near term. All right, that's what I'm looking at, baby. That's what I am looking at going on into this upcoming week. We got Fartcoin. We got XCN. I can't believe that. And you know what? We don't normally see Fartcoin. Why? Because this push got it up into the number 72 spot. So this pushed it up into the top 100. Normally it's over here. And look at that. The top 200. This is crazy. Popcat getting a bounce to the upside. That's crazy. A coin that was at $2 not too long ago. Barachain continually getting wrecked. I don't know what's happening. The Barachain down at $3.60. Wow. So a lot of these projects getting a little pop-a-lop, baby. Pop-a-lop to the upside. It looks good to me. It looks good to me. Caspa getting a run. Hyperliquid getting a run. I'm going to go over Bitcoin dominance, everybody. If you guys want to go over some last-minute things, I'm going to give you some time to chill with your family here on this weekend, baby. On this weekend, low liquidity. We're going to cut this a little short, a little early. If you guys want to go over some last-minute coins, drop them on in the chat. I'm here for you. I want to see what you guys are looking at. If you guys want some other coins, drop them them on in the chat. You guys drive the stream, and I appreciate each and every single one of you guys being here with me today on this beautiful Saturday. So, Bitcoin dominance, we've been talking about this over and over and over again for weeks now on Bitcoin dominance. And I know, yes, it looks really strong. It looks strong, but the people that are showing that are looking at this right here. They're not zooming out and realizing where we are on the macro being the entire history of the cryptocurrency space since back here in 2017, arguably, right? Or back here, 2014, altcoins got, introduced and whatnot. It is what it is. But essentially, since 2017, when the altcoins started getting validity and started taking off. So here we have this inverted cup and handle. And I've been looking at this, and this is something that I think is not on people's radar, and I need to keep you guys informed and tracking what I'm tracking right here. If you guys are curious about what I'm doing with my trades, hop on over on the X, hop on over on the Twitter. Follow me at BOYCECRYPTO102, baby. BOYCECRYPTO102. We haven't been trading a lot. Why? Because this environment has been absolutely trash for leverage trading. We've been doing spot. We've been averaging in our box of remembrance, which we are currently in right now on Total 3. We'll pull that up in just a second. We have this inverted cup and handle here for BTC dominance. This was last alt season right here. This was last alt season. This massive drop to the downside of about 44% in about 3 months. That was cataclysmic for Bitcoin dominance to the downside. I think we're on the verge of a similar move like that to the downside, baby, to the downside for Bitcoin dominance. Why? Well, we have an inverted cup and handle, a giant gap in the VRVP. We're coming up to a key 618786 bearish retracement, golden pocket Fibonacci. We are at the 706 right now. Zooming on in, that's 3 things. Zooming on in, we do have this weekly bearish divergence that is still valid. We have this swing down in the RSI indicator while we have a swing up on price action. This is telling us that we are likely going to crack this low, this wick, before we crack this high. And so far, that bearish divergence has not been invalidated. You invalidate this bearish divergence, you're likely to come up and at least test the 786 of this Fibonacci pool right here. But this bearish divergence is still in play, despite how close it gets. I don't care how close it gets. If it gets within a 0.001%, it is still in play, saying that we're likely going to crack this low before this high. And this is likely how we would turn around for BTC dominance. In the past day, BTC dominance has been really struggling here. It's been really struggling. As Hopium comes back into the space, this will likely not climb. You start getting risk on assets again, people will likely A, start rotating their Bitcoin into altcoins, or B, just start putting cash into altcoins because they know since they've been beaten down so severely, the odds of a turnaround in the altcoin market are going to rapidly improve, especially if we are going to get rate cuts here on the horizon. That's Bitcoin dominance, baby. That's Bitcoin dominance in a nutshell. Let's take a look at Total 3, baby. Total 3. Total 3, this is our box of remembrance. We fell out of our box of remembrance. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. This bullish divergence to get invalidated. Not a good sign. With that being said, we're coming up that 4-hour 200 SMA. This is the area we've been reinvesting, everybody. This is the area where we've been averaging in. And yes, we fell below our average in price, and now we're back above it. It is what it is. The crypto market is super volatile. All of you know that if you guys are here on this channel, that this is the most volatile market on the planet, baby. And that's the beauty of it, because it presents some of the best opportunities for people to make massive amounts of money in a space with even a little capital. We have to acknowledge that Bitcoin once traded at under $1 at 10 cents, 14 cents, 12 cents a Bitcoin on its origin, when it first came out. I love that video on YouTube, Da Vinci J15, super famous on YouTube, and he had, here, I'll pull it up for you guys real quick. This is cool. Da Vinci J15, he tried to tell everybody, this was the video back here, has 6.4 million views 11 years ago, and he begs everyone. He says, thanking me for that $1, just $1 of Bitcoins. Most of you, 90% are not even going to buy $1 worth of Bitcoin. It's a really cool video to watch. He's like, he said, he begged everybody, baby. He begged everybody, just buy $1. put $1 into this asset when it was trading at under $1. That is insane. That is absolutely insane. And you know, or not under $1. It was trading really close. It was trading really close to that. And you know, it's wild to think that this man was right. This man was right. And 6.4 million people get to see him here on YouTube. And, you know, he still has his channel and stuff. I kind of, me personally, I disagree with the way he's going, promoting a lot of meme coins and stuff. But with that being said, DaVinci J15 did call this, baby. He called it 11 years ago. He said this thing's going to $100,000. And lo and behold, it did. One of the best investments of the decade. So our boxer remembrance, we are trending upwards, and we're looking to break out of it again with the 21 curving up, looking to pass that 200 MA resistance right now. We're looking to close that 4-hour candle above 782 billion here, about 780 billion. Looks really good. We got about an hour and 15 minutes until that candle body closes. Looks very good for a reversal here for the total crypto market cap, the measure of all cryptos besides Bitcoin and Ethereum, baby. Looks good to me. That 4-hour 200 SMA, we haven't really had a sustained break above it since we were up here at about that $1 trillion level. Isn't that crazy? But yeah, baby, that's what I'm looking at going into this upcoming week. We have some big news drivers. As a summary, we have retail sales coming in on Wednesday and Thursday. We have the initial jobless claims, likely going to be the market movers, baby. Likely going to be the market movers. We went over Farcoin. We went over the hottest winners of the day, the losers of the day. The losers of the day are the coins that have been pumping the hardest. We have to acknowledge that XCN down 1.2%, but we have to acknowledge that that thing's just went on a monumental 300% gain. Farcoin, same thing on the day, the daily candle just opening. It's just having a little bit of a pullback from this run. So essentially everything is up massively. Look at this, the 1, 5, 10. Isn't this crazy to see this? So yeah, a little bit of a turnaround for BTC and all the altcoins. We'll have to see if this holds up throughout the week. Stand by with me on BOYCECRYPTO102 on X, baby, on X, for my updates going on into this upcoming week. I will see you guys tomorrow, baby. I will see you all tomorrow on the BOYCECRYPTO show at this time. We're at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, baby. I will see you guys tomorrow. I'll also be streaming with PMG. Whoa. We have a little bit of a conflict there. I am going to be streaming with PMG tomorrow. I'll have to text him. We'll talk about what we're going to do. Maybe we'll just stream with him tomorrow on Crypto Profit Brothers, baby. Drop on by and subscribe to myself and Josh and Boyce, baby. That's what we're teaming up, collabing, and we're going after some of those bigger channels that spread a lot of opium in the space that I think has been losing people a lot of money. So that's what I'm looking at, baby. Drop on over to Josh and Boyce at Crypto Profit Brothers, baby. We will see you there tomorrow. Until next time, baby, I will see you guys. Thank you for tuning in with me here on your Saturday night. BOYCECRYPTO is out, baby. BOYCECRYPTO is out. I will see you guys. Keep up to date with me on X, everybody.